Okay. Good afternoon to all of our followers, faithful followers. This afternoon, we're just so pleased to have with us here. As you can see, the president, Mr. Winston Smith of the JTA, that's Jamaica Teachers Association 2021. Guys, about 8 months ago, we interviewed this gentleman here on Ian and Ian Real Talk. And I've never seen one person so confident and that he was almost sure he would have had the position. So, before we get him introduce himself to you guys, my first question really is to really know where did that confidence come from back then, 8 months ago. So, Mr. Winston, president of the JTA, we just want to welcome you this afternoon to Together We Rise Building Our Nation, which is a new platform, pretty new, and we're pleased to have you on here. So welcome to the platform, man.
Thank you, Ian, and good evening to my viewers and those who are listening to me on social media and various platforms. I thank you for having me, and indeed honored, yet humbled, and consider it a privilege to be sharing with you again in this space. And to those who have taken time out to view and to listen, I welcome you, and I'm hoping that at the end of this discourse, you will learn a little bit more about me, who I am, where I'm from, my journey, my desire, and my passion. You ask, where did I get that confidence from? Confidence came from the teachers of Jamaica. Wherever I went campaigning, I was well received by the teachers of Jamaica, whom I seek to represent. I would have been flooded with text messages and calls requesting me to make presentation at the various meetings. And when I go to these meetings, I would find that the teachers would be there, and sometimes the platform would start with, say, with 300, 400 teachers. And even 2 or 3 hours after, they would still be there listening, absorbing what I had to say. And that caused me now to realize that indeed the teachers were really keen on what I was saying and the message of hope that I brought. Also, having worked with several presidents from as far back as 2010, right up. And in 2011, I would have served as a parish president for St. Andrew. And from there on, I would have served with every president, save and maybe 1 or 2 exceptions. So I understood what it takes to win an election to become the president of the JTA. But more so, I understood from them what it takes to give quality and effective representation. So I knew that I would have won. The year before, I knew I wasn't going to win, because when I went on the campaign trail, I could see the energy and the vibe going towards my opponent, but at the same time, the teachers were saying to me, we are going with him, but next year we are going to come with you. So I was assured, I took them at their word, simply because for me, if I give you my word, it's my honor, it's my bond. And I assume then that teachers are going to be as honest as that and sincere. So when they say to me that they will support me, I believe them. And thank God I was not disappointed.
Well, I can tell you, sir, they surely did, because you won like by a landslide. So,
well, as I like to put it here, and I when I tell my colleague, when the administrators, I would tell them that I am coming to the presidency with 74% of the votes, representing more than roughly 2/3, or sorry, 3/4 of all the teachers would have gone out to vote. And of course, it was a pandemic year. Campaign fully during a pandemic. We didn't get a chance to go out on the byways and hedges to meet the teachers face to face. So our interaction would have been online, utilizing the virtual space. So I'm grateful to God that we were able to have the election, and most importantly, that I came out victorious. And again, I cannot overemphasize the importance and my level of gratitude to the teachers of Jamaica, who believed in me, bought into my vision, and have come forth to say, listen, I want to support this young man. Special thanks to my campaign team. And it was a very difficult campaign because my campaign manager, Wayne Mullins, my friend from States days, right through. And if I want to say, my God, the one who brought me really into the JTA, even up to the time of his death, he was still managing the affairs of my campaign. He died, I think, in July, early July. But yet, my team, we went through a period of mourning and despair. But we still managed to pull through because of the campaign team I had supporting me. And I lift my hat to them at all times with all level of respect, because had it not been for their tenacity, encouragement, I probably would have dropped out of the race. There are times when I felt like giving up, but my vice principal would have none of it. The teachers at my school, my janitors, my watchmen, my support staff, the cooks, they will come to me and say, sir, don't even bother think of dropping out, you know. We got you, we have your back. And when and to be honest with you, that kind of support, when you go to school and you're there and your watchman will come up to you and say, sir, how things going? And they say, boy, you know, sometimes I'm toying with them though. And I'll say to them, well, you can't bother, I don't feel like dropping out. And they say, no, sir, you're mad. Boss, you can't do that, you know? That kind of a support. I remember calling my vice principal in my office one day and I looked her dead straight in the eye and tell her, listen, I'm calling it quits. And she looked at me and she said, sir, don't do it. I don't know of you as a quitter. Please don't give up. Don't worry about school. I will take charge of everything for you so that you can concentrate on doing this. And believe me, Ian, those words, even to this day, is an encouragement and a motivation and an upliftment for me, because here is my staff telling me they got me. Many schools, Ian, the teachers are, it is reported, because I don't know what happened in every school, but it is reported, you know, this issue between principals and teachers. But here am I at Golden Spring, and my teachers are basically instructing me not to give up. Why? Because they have my back, and they will do whatever it takes that my work as principal does not reduce, or the quality of the output, the name of the school will remain. So the ministry would not be able to find fault in the leadership of the school, because my vice principal, my management team, my senior teachers, they sat me down in a meeting and they pretty much give it to me. You know? And I am really humbled by it. And I talk about it all the time. I'll never forget. My former school, Constitution Hill, where I was first principal, they again would never allow me to give up. They keep calling, they keep rallying. You know, the people in the community of Constitution Hill, they were 100% behind me. My students from Papine, I left Papine from 2012, Ian, and the students I thought would be on Facebook campaigning for me, you know. Some of them I don't even remember their names until when I see the picture and say, oh, it's you. Because some of them changed the name on Facebook, you know. But they were there campaigning hard. Their students who would have come to my school to do community service, they were campaigning for me on Facebook. So I'm saying, if these people are going so hard for me, I can't give up. I can't let them down. I can't disappoint them. And thanks be to God, I was able to pull through. And today, I am able to fulfill my promise, which I made to you and Ian. That blessed Sunday evening, when I said to you guys then that if and when I am victorious, I will come back to you to give my first online live interview. And I thank God that I'm able to fulfill my promise to you.
Thanks for keeping those words, man. So, Mr. President, I really want you to take it back for those of the audience who may just be joining. Even though we know we interviewed you about 8 months ago on the program Ian and Ian, Real Talk. But we want to just take it back, you know, let the audience know basically where you're from in terms of your community, your upbringing, early schooling.
Okay,
Just
yeah. I am from a community in Southeast St. Elizabeth by the name of Rosal. It is in between Carlisle and what we call Newhouse or Monimus. So there are three schools within those three communities. And I consider Rosal All Age to be the upper class in terms of quality output under the leadership of then one Ezekiel Augustus Roy Crawford, who later became regional director for Region 5. And I think at one time he was at Region 3. I am the 9th of 11 children of Pernell and Evelyn Smith. Most people in Rosal know her as Miss Blossom. Yes. And for those persons who are from that area and probably wondering who I am the one whose father died at Monimus after preaching at a church service up there. Yes. I was only 2 years and 8 months at thereabout when my father died. So I really grew up without a father. I knew no father. All I had was my mama, and my 10 siblings. My baby brother, my mother was pregnant at the time with my baby brother, Pernell. Together, we as a family stick it out through the rough times, the hard times, the really barren times financially. But my brother Lloyd, the eldest of the family, he had a vision. He had his eyes on what he wanted the family to become. And in my interview for the Reporter, which is a JTA's magazine at each annual conference, I dedicated my presidency to Rosal. To Lloyd, sorry. Because in my eyes, Ian, it's not that my other brothers, other siblings, Mavis and Philip and Bev and Joan and so forth, it's not as if they didn't play a role. But when I evaluated the situation, to me, Lloyd stands head and shoulder above everybody. Lloyd opened the door of academic success. I didn't realize how valuable Lloyd was to the family until I became a teacher. Having become a teacher and as an administrator, the role that Lloyd played became abundantly clear to me. It is important, Ian, and for those families that are listening, the first child in your family, if that child fails, it now becomes more difficult for the others to succeed. The path or the trajectory on which the first one travel opens the road for those who are coming behind. Sorry. And Ian, you can understand, and I'm going to use that analogy now that only people from Rosal will probably understand this. When you're going out to tie out goat in the morning and the dew water on the grass, the one who goes out first bear the brunt of everything, Those who come behind actually walking on a better path. And so it is, Lloyd. Can you imagine this, Ian? Lloyd was 16 years and 5 months when our father died. In fifth form at Monroe. Yet he managed to keep the family together, passing 7 O-levels at Monroe.
Wow.
That's no ordinary feat, But to make matters, but to even look at things bigger, Lloyd opened the door and he kept it open, Ian, till all 10 siblings behind him went through. And believe me, it wasn't easy for me. Had it not been for Mr. Crawford and Mr. Letman at Rosal School to push the time. And I mean, not to discredit other teachers, Mrs. Crawford was a gem, right? But Mr. Crawford and Mr. Letman, these two gentlemen took a special interest in Winston. Back in the days, Ian, people would say that every family must have a black sheep. Now, of all of my mother's children, I'm the blackest or the darkest of them. And I was the one who couldn't pass common entrance or state's entrance. So people thought I was going to be the black sheep. I remember somebody telling my mother to buy machete and who and file give me. Now, Ian, you're from that neck of the woods. And you know those things are insulting. It's almost like telling you the worst things, Yep. Those were the kind of abuse I would have suffered. But thanks be to God, Mr. Crawford, Mr. Letman, they kept me focused. Mrs. Crawford, Mrs. Morgan, that kept me focused, coupled with the encouragement from Lloyd and Philip and Mavis and, the whole list of my brothers. And if I may name them, just to refresh your memory, I'm going to name them in order, Ian, from oldest to youngest.
All right, sir.
You know them, but just for my listeners, the oldest is Lloyd, followed by Mavis, then Philip, then Beverly, then Joan, Clinton, Marcia, Clayton, Winston, with I am, Linval, and Pernell Jr. That's the 11. All 11 of us are alive, and all 11 of us have benefited from tertiary education. All 11 of us are leaders in our respective career path or job. So, as a family emanating from Rosal, from parents who did not enter high school, none of my parents went to high school, I think we have to give God many thanks. And I must say, I believe that somebody should commission a study on the history and success of Rosal All-Age School, because that school has turned out many giants. Every morning I listen to Nationwide just to hear Tana Thomas on the radio, because she is a product of Rosal All-Age School. And there are many others, Ian, we could talk about. You yourself, a big cricketer, is a product of Rosal All-Age School. Baldwin Spencer. There are many. I can't, if I just try to name all of the product of Rosal this afternoon, I probably get into trouble because somebody will go say, why I didn't call their name. But we need to look at Rosal and where we are coming from and the importance of that institution.
Well, just want to give a shout out while we are here to Vanessa. I know you must remember, I don't want to call the nickname.
You mean the nickname that starts with Z?
Yeah, man. So we just gonna big up Vanessa for joining, and also coming in Mr. Crawford, and so much of us, in our era, our age group, all of us grew up together. Could say so much about Mr. Crawford, as a educational, enforce, education. You always make sure that, guess what, you're on the right part,
Yes, indeed.
Strong principle.
Yes, man.
Give a quick shout out to Mr. Bruce Oliver Spirit, man, cricket team. Big up yourself, cricket. Bruce, thanks for joining, guys. And guys, as you come on, if you have any question for the president of the Jamaica Teachers Association, one of our own, attend Rosal School, went on to States. So you know what, Winston?
Yes, yeah.
I want you to give us your educational trend or background.
Yeah. All right, no problem, Ian. After leaving Rosal, I went to St. Elizabeth Technical High School, the great States. And from States, I came to Kingston and I worked in a supermarket. I used to pack bag in a supermarket. And while being in that supermarket, Ian, I started.
President, I want to share that story because that story was, very interesting.
Yes, all right. When I came to Kingston, I got a job in Lane Supermarket in Halfway Tree. As a matter of fact, I got that job on the strength of my brother, Clayton, who used to work there before me. When he left there, and it's so amazing that these people couldn't understand. My brother left the supermarket as a packer to join the National Commercial Bank, working as a teller. Because it's not that we weren't qualified. You come from country, you get the first thing because you need to work. Your little brothers are back in St. Elizabeth depending on the little income to assist in schooling, because it's a thing like this, As soon as one graduate, start to work, help the next one behind you. It's almost like a chain. And Lloyd would say that a chain is as strong as its weakest link, and none of us must be left behind. So we all work together collectively to ensure that the next behind comes through. So when Clayton went into the bank, by then I would have graduated from States. Moved into Kingston, live with Clinton and Clayton, had to work. So Clayton called the manager at Lane Supermarket in the village. Miss Daly, I believe her name was, and Miss Wright. And they said, oh, you're such a good worker, good manageable boy. It's your brother, that means chances are he's like you, so tell him to come. And I went and I started working. While working there, I realized that some of the young guys that were working with me, they were not able to read and write so well. So what I would do is that during my break time, Just out of the I mean, I didn't even think much of it, you know. It was just like a natural thing to do to help. So I would, you know, lunchtime or break time or after work or before work, we'd sit down in the lunchroom and I started helping them to improve their literacy and numeracy skills. And I mean, one day I was sitting in the, things were kind of slow in the supermarket. So I, being the supervisor of the packers now, you know, that's my first promotion, position of management or supervision. I was asked to supervise the packers. And I scheduled myself at that time to go and rest in the baggage compartment. And while being there, I saw a young lady from Immaculate. All right. To be honest with you, Ian, if I say to you that I was just looking at the thing and my motives were pure, I would be lying. Young lady looked nice. But then her folder dropped from the place I had it put, and I saw a biotest paper that she failed miserably. Now, I've always considered myself a scientist. The science is my area of strength. So I took the paper and I started correcting, you know, write the correct answers. And I said to her, just in a means of trying to get her attention, you know, wrong approach, though, because you can't try to get people attention by showing them their faults. But, you know, you're young and inexperienced. So I showed her that, listen, young, I mean, hello, you know, these are things and this. And the girl looked at me and said, look here, give me my paper, you look at dirty packer boy, what you know. Ian, the thing cut like a knife.
Yeah.
And I remember, yes, man, I remember going home the evening and I spoke to Clayton about it. And I said, Clayton, look, I can't be in a supermarket with CXC subjects and having students refer to me as a little dirty packer boy. I never left country, come town to be classified as that. What are we going to do? And he said to me, well, I don't know. Let us see what will happen. And then, I don't know, maybe by divine or by his inspiration, he had worked for some time at Papine Junior Secondary. And he said, you know what, let me call Mrs. Spirit at Papine to see if they have any vacancy up there, because he had worked sometime as a pre-trained teacher. So he called Mrs. Spirit, and again, being the kind of diligent teacher he was, decent, committed, hardworking young man, Mrs. Spirit again gave me a chance on the strength of Clayton, my brother. And I went there and said, listen, I cannot afford for Clayton or my family to be disgraced by me, so I have to put out the best. And I worked very hard there. Unfortunately, I was only working, I'd gotten an 8-month stint for a teacher who had gone on 8 months leave. When the 8 months finished, Mrs. Spears said to me, Winston, I can't keep you. Of course, I felt dejected, yet I understood, because it's not as if it was a secret. And I went home and I took the directory and I called every school in St. Andrew, starting from A to Z. And it wasn't until I reached S at Stony Hill All-Age School when the principal, Mrs. Polly Bowes Howell, answered the phone call, and she did a little interview over the phone, asking me if I know anything about farming. I said, yes, I'm from St. Elizabeth. That's what we do to survive. And she started to question me, and I said, yes. She said, can you come for an interview? I said, when? She said, no. I said, right now. I called my brother and asked him how to get to Stony Hill because I didn't know how to get there. And he told me, and I said, all right, I need bus fare. So I walked from Mona, where I used to live, down to Ligani, where my brother was working at Matco. I begged him a bus fare. And he gave me a little change and tell me, say, listen, go halfway through, stand up at the gas station at Big Tree and wait until the bus going to Lawrence Tavern or Border. And I did as I was told the conductor that I'm going to Stony Hill All-Age School. They left me in the square and said, boy, walk around. So somewhere around the road, you'll see it. And I walked around, asking along the way, and I was directed to the school. Spoke with Mrs. Howell, and after talking to her, she was so enthused and impressed with my presentation. She employed me on the spot. I said, all right, come September, you start to work. So I taught agricultural science at Stony Hill for a year. Now, while doing my job there as a teacher, I would go up in the morning and I would help some students from Oberlin. Because I'm early, I mean, these guys were doing agriculture. I did general agriculture at States and I got a grade 1. I was bright in the subject and I loved it. I wanted to share my knowledge with them. So I took on those 4 boys from Oberlin. Every morning I would go up 6:30, teach them until they leave for school, then go to Stony Hill. And our school at that time started at 8 o'clock. So my grade 6 students will come in the morning and I would have extra class with them because I told them they should there's none of them who will be left behind, just as Mr. Crawford told me. I remember this little one named Abiomi. I'll never forget him. When I finished with Abiomi and Abiomi passed his exam for Oberlin, his grandmother came to me at graduation and said, "Boy," and said, "Mr. Smith, thank you very much. Because many persons wrote off Abiomi, but you never gave up." I have no idea where Abiomi is in the world today. But one thing I know, because of the commitment I made to the profession then, he was able to transition into high school. And I'm proud of it. There's another young man by the name of Philip Lovejoy. I don't know where these guys are, but I remember them, teaching them. Funny enough, Ian, we would have done very well at Stonehill. We made a lot of money for the school. Entered garden competition, wing competition. We planted. In 1993, Ian, I taught my students mini-set technology, how to plant crops, dicing up a piece of yam and planting it to get products from it. That doing the same thing with Irish potatoes. I would take one Irish potato and get 6 Irish potato seedlings from that, right? Thanks to my bigger brother Clinton, who went to College of Agriculture and has a general degree in agriculture. And he would teach me some things along with my own reading in the discipline, because I had a love for genetics, you know. I had an interest in becoming a genetical engineer. But apparently God didn't have it that way that I should go that path. He had a different path prepared for me. So while being at Stonehill, Mrs. Howell came to me one day and he said to me, "Listen, you're a young man and you're a good teacher. Why not go to college and get yourself qualified?" So at the time, I applied to Michael, and another teacher and staff had gone to Pasley Gardens Teachers College. And I was enthused by the fact that I would be out of town. So I applied to Pasley Gardens Teachers College as well. I was admitted to both. I was accepted by both institutions. And I chose Pasley Gardens Teachers College and went there. But funny enough, I came back to Michael to finish my diploma. You know, it's as if the Lord said, "Listen, you should have gone to Michael in the first place." But the experience I gained at Case can never, ever be undervalued or over. You know, it is as though it is a whole new arena of things. Because now I'm on my own, have to know, as we say in a country, fend for yourself. You know, I learned to be disciplined, learned to be a real sportsman in a sense, a team player, and all of these things, because I was involved in sports. I used to play cricket for the college. I used to play football, volleyball. I was a member of the cadet force. I was the second in command to Captain Lamy, as he was there. I think he's now major. So you learn discipline and leadership. I learned those things at Case, and those things were grounded in me. I learned to take criticism, because you're now in an institution, people tease you daily, and you have to learn how to absorb that without getting angry. So I learned those things, and it really developed those kind of habits or skill set in me. And when I came back from Case, I went back to Papine High School. And it was there now that all my skills of being a proper teacher developed under the leadership and support of Mrs. Cynthia Pierce, who took me under her wings like a mother, you know. And sometimes my supervisors were being very hard on me, and I couldn't understand why, only to know that they were testing me to see if I was ready to take on leadership. I was promoted from being a regular classroom teacher to being the head of the science department. And while being head of science department, I was then promoted again. It was added to my portfolio that of being a grade coordinator. So I was carrying both responsibility while teaching. And I mean, I did it with pride, and I felt good doing it, because to me, I felt important. Not recognizing that I was actually developing skills that would serve me as a school administrator. Then in 2012, I applied to Constitution Hill Primary, became the principal there, spent 5 years there, moved on to Golden Spring. I'm at Golden Spring now. And of course, that's the academic and professional journey. We can talk about the union one if you so desire at some other point in time, or whether today or so. So I'm now at Golden Spring as their principal, and I'll be off on special leave. My vice principal will take up the reins and will carry through for me until I return after I've completed my sojourn at the JTA.
All right. Mr. President, thank you for that history, work history, and some of the challenges you had to overcome. A quick question for you. What would you have said is your greatest contribution to this school that you have? Your greatest impact?
All right. Let's start with Papine High School, for example. When I was at Papine, at that time, Papine the students used to sit SSC. Under my leadership as head of department, I impress upon the principal that I have confidence in the teachers in the department to deliver the CXC curriculum. And we embark on teaching CXC, chemistry, and biology. We wanted to do physics too, but we didn't have a lab space for physics. So what we would do is students who were, I believe, who had the aptitude for physics, myself and Mr. Jones and another teacher. I don't want to call his grub name because I remember his grub name more than how I remember his first name. We were at Michael together. We would teach the students physics in our own time. But we really concentrated on chemistry, human and social biology, and straight bio as it is called. Resulting now in our students starting to pass these exams with flying colors. Ian, I am proud to tell you that we have product of Papine we have students who are product of Papine High School who is now a doctor, medical doctor, several nurses, nursing assistant. These are students who we would have taught science at Papine High School. We have students who have degree in biochemistry. You understand? Chemical engineering from Papine High School, and that would have started under my watch as head of science department. We also, when I took on the role of grade supervisor, I would have supervised grade 7 as well as grade 9, but I prefer the grade 7 because I felt that here are students coming into the school for the first time. We need to set a solid foundation so that we can build on this. So I constantly asked Mrs. Spear to keep me in 7. She put me at 9. I complained. I said I want to go back to 7. While being at 7, I was responsible for registration and placement of all students in the school. Prior to me taking that role, we would have students coming in September and don't know which class to be in and all sort of thing. But I revolutionized the whole registration process so that every student would know from as early as July that one, they're accepted for those who are coming on transfer, and those who would have been placed at the school, you're registered, you're in a class, all things are set so that when coming in September, you can start the ball rolling. You would have been familiar because, bringing an orientation system in August. So we bring in the new students. We have extra class with them, teach them. We do our diagnostic tests, get them ready. And as a result, Papine School made a proper transition from just being a regular upgraded high school to students that are doing well. I remember saying to my principal, Mrs. Spears, at the time that my vision for Papine is that we will have a 6th form program so that our students don't need to leave and go and apply to other schools to do 6th form. And so it would have been that in my final year, I thank God I was able to witness Papine having a 6th form program. Part of the contribution that I would have made. And there are other things that I would have done. I remember I had applied for leave, Ian. And while I was out on vacation leave, we had started CXC PE. The PE teacher resigned. And in January, Mrs. Spears called me one day and said, Winston, I have a problem. I said, what is the problem? Boy, the PE teacher resigned and I don't have anybody because we are overstaffed, so we can't employ anybody. Can you help me out? And I rescinded my leave, came back to Papine and taught CXC PE. Myself and a teacher named Pauline Richards, she's now at Yallas High School. Both of us, we taught the CXC PE that year. And Ian, I'm proud to tell you, brother, of the 16 students we sent up, 15 of them passed. Can you imagine? Poor little neophyte as me in the business of PE. But what I did was simple. I believe that if you're a teacher, once a teacher, you can teach anything, provided you put your mind to it. I want to say anything. Let me put that into context. You can't just go and teach the technical areas, woodwork, metalwork, and these things. But any academic subject, if you are a real committed teacher, if you put your mind to it, you can teach it. Put aside technical areas because these require some real technical skills. But any subject within the academic discipline, because I concentrated on the theory, while Ms. Richardson was a GC Foster trained certified coach, concentrated on the practical, and collectively we work together and have our children passing the exams and moving on. When I went to Constitution Hill now, that was where I learned the rudiments of leadership as a school administrator. I went to that school. When I went there, it had 46 students. I went there the 1st of May. 4 of those students graduated in June, left me with 42 students. A staff population that was demotivated, discouraged. The ministry had the school as in failing, and the school desperately need our support. I told my staff that there's no way we are going to fail the next inspection. There's no way we're going to fail it. So let us now get ready. And I started to motivate my staff. I would sit down with them. I would go, rather than sit down in my office by myself, I would invite my staff to come and sit with me. I would sit down during lunchtime. We would have lunch together. We talk, share my vision, share my ideas on how we can get things done. My teachers bought into what I was selling them. And we set about restoring Constitution Hill Primary School. Well, it was all age at the time. Ian, when I started school in September of 2012, I started with 88 students, up from 42.
Wow.
I walked the community, talk with them. I remember I started begging money to paint the school because the school wasn't attractive. The optics weren't there at all. I said to my staff that we need to brighten up the school. We need to change the color. We need to fix up these things. And when I begged the money, I remember this guy owns a coffee farm in the community. He gave me $10,000 back in 2012. I bought some paint and I went there, painted the school myself, spent the entire summer up there with a little man from the community named Mr. Levy. He saw me painting every day all by myself. And he said, "Well, but Mr. Principal, you alone do the work." "No, sir." He said, "But Mr. Levy, I don't have any male teachers, and the females are busy at home tending to their families." And he said, "All right, Mr. Principal." And he came, and my watchman would come in the night and he would help do some painting. So he did the internal walls. Myself and Mr. Levy painted the external walls. And the school started looking pretty and looking nice. And I called the parents together and said, "Listen, let us change the uniform, give a new look, fix up the place." And believe me, Ian, the parents and the community bought into the vision. My staff bought into the vision. And we transformed Constitution Hill Primary School. Within 5 years I was there, we moved the literacy rate from 42% to 92.8. The numeracy rate moved from 37 to 77. And I mean, when I was leaving, the minister then, Royal Reid, when he was invited, he said that he could not but accept the invitation to come and speak, be the guest speaker, because I didn't even know that the ministry was tracking the progress of Constitution Hill. Then it was at that function I knew that Constitution Hill was slated to close, and I was the last hope. I was the last person they gave the chance to prove if it is worth keeping. And thanks be to God, and thanks to my staff then and the people in the community, we're able to keep the school alive. And today, I'm proud to tell you, Ian, Constitution Hill Primary is now Constitution Hill Primary and Infant School. 146 students and climbing. They have a brain builders program. The school is now fenced. The yard is paved. All of these things I had on my plan. And I mean, the principal who took over after me just carried the plan because she was a part of the conceptualization of those plans. She knew the plan well. And I mean, I still act as a kind of, we call it now, mentor to them. I still communicate with them. They call me from time to time for advice or support. And I'm always happy to help them because I consider Constitution Hill my pride and joy, my baby. So I still collaborate with them. I still share best practice with them. Wherever I get a chance to include them into anything, they are included because I need them to keep hope alive and let the students know that things are happening. And believe me, Ian, when school reopens, I will be visiting Constitution Hill as one of my first school as president of the JTA to let Constitution Hill know that they have helped to make me into what I am today. I must go back and give thanks. Golden Spring is another challenge. I wouldn't want to say challenge, I'd rather say project. And we're working hard with Golden Spring. Golden Spring is pretty much going through a transition now. So for me, and I've said it to my education officer and to the ministry, give Golden Spring a break because it's going through a transition. I've been there from 2017. There are a lot of issues that we have to sort out because when I went there, shortly after going there, I lost 6 teachers. 2 migrated, 4 retired. So you can imagine now we have to employ new people. and to bring them into the fold. And for me, I like to employ teachers coming fresh out of college because I believe that I have much to give and I can mold them. I believe I can mentor and coach them into quality teachers as long as they have the right attitude and aptitude to do the job. So we are going through a transition. My vice principal is now going to be acting principal, having been senior teacher. So the transition was so rapid. All the senior teachers and staff would have been appointed by me. So you can imagine. And I've said to them, my chairman said to me the other day in a board meeting that, Mr. Smith, Mr. Principal, I don't know if I should really give you the time off to go to this JTA now, because the school is at a point where we really need you. But I reassured him that my VP is a quality vice principal. She has learned. We talk together. Ian, this is a VP. I can't talk enough about her, man. This lady, we talk every day almost. She knows that I'm an early waker. So she from sometime 4 or 5 o'clock, she will call me or send me a message and we have a conversation as to what we're going to do for the school. How things are going to happen. I know, because I live by the motto, or the thing that I can die anytime like my father. So therefore, somebody must be able to continue the work. And I'm proud to tell you that Golden Spring moved from unsatisfactory when I went there to satisfactory. We are going through some transition because of the change in staff and so forth. But I believe that when I return, they would have moved to a higher level. There's some infrastructural work that needs to be done, and the ministry is coming on board to help us. So great things are about to happen, and I'm anticipating a transition, a transfer of quality, and a growth and development in Golden Spring as a school, because my intention is to make Golden Spring the best school in that area, and ultimately the best primary school in Jamaica. That is my goal, and I'm not going to stop until we are successful at that.
Whoa, Mr. Smith, boy, that's a big rap sheet there you have, man. A lot of work, a lot of
yes. You see,
really proud of you. I gotta say it publicly on the platform here. Growing up with you in that little community. I see one of our even Saint Best lady, Tasha. She had written a book with poetry. Red Dot Bikini. And to see you, man, grow, and mature in such an amazing educator. I'm really proud of you, that I followed in the footsteps of the great Mr. Crawford that we know so well, in terms of an educator. To see you excel, from this little rural community that some people don't even know about Rosal, when they say Rosal and Melsom and all them places there.
Yeah, they think when they say Rosal, yeah, they're thinking of Rosal in Montego.
Yeah.
But I give you a joke, Ian. You know that if you ask my teachers my name, they'll tell you that my name is Winston Augustus Roy Smith.
Yeah.
You see, yeah, man, I hang on to this Augustus thing because it brings me close to Mr. Crawford.
Okay.
And I try to emulate him in my sojourn as a principal.
Well, that's great principal, man. Great,
yes. Great man. Man before his time.
Yep. Guys, I just ask that you bear with me because my little baby here to the side, always trying to be a part of everything. Yep, man. So, really proud of you, to see you at the top of the education system there, and with that, really, President Smith, I just want to ask you, what had motivate you to really go at such a post, the top of the education system?
All right. Yeah. When I was a teacher at Papi, you see, and I've always been a member of the JTA. From '97, I joined the JTA. I was encouraged many times by colleagues to leave the JTA and to join what was then the National Union of Democratic Teachers, NUDT. But to me, I didn't believe that, and I still don't believe that that we should really have two unions competing in the same space, because we are one profession, and it is better if we all unite. Then the JTA motto is unite and serve, which augurs well for us, right? And I used to look at what is it that JTA could do, I should be doing, and yes, they were doing some good things, but I felt like there are some more things I could do or should be done. I was at school one day when Michael Stewart, who was the principal after Mr. Crawford, I believe. Because I left for States before Mr. Stewart came there. Right? So he came campaigning to be president of the JT, and when I met him, I started to tell him all the things I was dissatisfied with. And he encouraged me to be more actively involved and engaged and so forth. And when he told me that he was Michael Stewart, I knew the name, but I never knew the man. This was the first time I was meeting the man. And I said, oh, so you are the principal of Rosal? And he said, yes. And he said, but I know you. He said, I don't know you. He told me that, look, you look like Lloyd, and I know Lloyd. And we had a long conversation. And he was encouraging me to join. But that wasn't what really took it for me. It was when Wayne Mullins came to Papine campaigning for Mr. Stewart. Now, Wayne, sometimes, I tell you, yeah, to be honest with you, sometimes when I'm by myself, I still shed a tear or two for Wayne. I miss him. When I tell you, I miss him. This is a guy that I knew from States. I met him in Shaka's office. And I can say Shaka to you because you know exactly who Shaka. But for those who don't know Shaka, our principal, Samuel Watson, we used to call him Shaka. I met Wayne in Shaka's office one day because we had a similar problem. School fee was late. And you know in those days, boy, people crab it when it comes to the school fee, you know. And we were in there begging and pleading with Shaka to allow us to stay until we were able to pay the school fee. So he and I had a common ground, and that of hardship and poverty. But I was his senior. I was a year ahead of him. He was in my little brother, Linval's class. Then we started traveling on the same bus, Brother Mando bus. You know that little red bus from up us out there. Right? Again, we had a problem because we couldn't find the money sometime to give Mando at the end of the month. He used to collect at the end of the month. And sometimes we just couldn't find it. And he and I would have to be there negotiating and bargaining with Mando, begging a little time and so forth. So when he came, you know, we grew up pretty much together. That kind of poverty or hardship brought Wayne and myself and Linval together. And we formed a bond in high school. When I met him back, I met him sometime while he was at Micro. And that's a long story. I don't have the time to tell you that, but it's good story still. Suffice it to say, he came back to Papine and we met up again. And I told him what Michael had said to me. And he said, yes, man, he agreed and that I should come. And I said, listen, I don't know anything about the DA and these kind of things. He said, no worry yourself, man. I'll show you everything and I'll teach and I'll be here. And I said to him then, I said, Wayne, I will come just because you are there. And I know you're not going to lead me into anything bad or anything wrong. So I joined I went into representation. I went to the district meetings. And when I started sharing my knowledge and ideas with the teachers there, they elected me same time as president-elect of Eastern St. Andrew District Association. That meeting it was held at in the library at Jamaica College. Funny enough, I didn't get a chance to serve my president-elect year for the district association. I was thrust into presidency same time because the gentleman who should have been president, Sean Vaughan, good friend, he got a job somewhere down in, at a Clarendon or St. Catherine? But he got a job at an at another school that puts him more in line with his training. And so he left. And I was automatically thrust into the position of president by the then parish president, Vivi Martha-Sill. She made the recommendation that I step up to the plate to become the president. And I started serving as the district president. While being there, I was recommended by, I don't know who, maybe it's Michael, maybe it's Wayne, maybe, I don't know who, but somebody in the JTA saw value in me. To this day, Ian, I don't know who it was. But every single leadership training opportunity that was available, I found my name on the list and keep getting the letters. Mrs. Spear supported me by allowing me time to go to this training. When I went there, I absorbed the knowledge that was available. Listened attentively, made my contribution, came back, give a proper report to my colleagues in the district association, trained them as best as I know how. You know, I kept reading. I spent a lot of time reading the code of regulation, reading the various articles and books in the JTA, trying to apprise and to make sure I know as much as possible. Then I went to UWI. I did a certificate in management studies. I was taught by a lady by the name of Audrey Sewell. For those people in Jamaica, that lady today is the permanent secretary in the office of the Prime Minister. I think our job creation or growth, one of those ministries within the office of the Prime Minister. But she was the one who know Ian introduced me to industrial relations, and man, the thing felt sweet. You know, then you know when you're the country Ian and you get what we call commony. I don't use the term that we know because other people don't know this one. I'm talking with you now. You know, get a sweet, nice commony. And colleagues viewing online is what you more polished Jamaicans would call a stringy mango. It felt so sweet, you know, this industrial relation thing, and the way Mrs. Sewell taught it to me, and she demonstrated a level of care towards me, Ian. Because sometimes I'm coming from work and I'm tired, and I would say to Mrs. Sewell, I'm on the evening shift at Papine, and I'm coming in and I'm tired. And she said, all right, go and get something to eat. Relax a little and then you come to class. You know, that kind of care, and I respected it. So I wanted to be like her, you know, have that level of knowledge in industrial relations. And she taught me industrial relations and human resource management. And what I found, Ian, is that every time I learned something from her class, I would go back to Papine and share it with Mrs. Speard. And, you know, share it with my colleagues and the teachers within the department and within my grid. And I saw that, wait, this thing is really profitable because the transition and the improvements start to show immediately. So I realized that, but wait, there's great things in JTA, man. You know, in 2010, having served as the DA president for 2 years now, I put my hat in the race to become for the parish presidency. And I won the election at the AGM. So in 2010, I became the parish president-elect for St. Andrew. And in 2011-12 now, I became the president. Again, that opens a lot of doors for me because President Paul Adams at the time would send me to various meetings and seminars to represent him, the national president. I felt good that, the great Paul Adams, 2 times president, you know, would repose such confidence in me to send me to represent him. So I tried to make sure that I delivered well because I can't afford a great orator like Paul to be disappointed or dissatisfied that I didn't represent him well. You know, moving on the line, Clayton Hall became president and he appointed me a national chairman, chair of the resolution committee. Incidentally, that was a committee that Wayne was what I call the godfather of. And I had doubts about taking it on, but Wayne would constantly remind me that he promised me that he would stick with me and that I can rely on him for support. And he started teaching me the whole rudiments of handling the portfolio. And, you know, he was right there with me, and we sojourned, you know, through the different committees. Different presidents would have appointed me in their cabinet to serve. I would have served as the chairman of the Salaries and Conditions of Service Committee. The next year, Dixon would have appointed me as the chairman of Finance. So I kept getting the support from the leaders within the JTA. And one of the things that I think is missing nowadays, Ian, is that in the JTA, the men, and some of the ladies too, every time we go to a conference, they will call us as young men in the JTA to the bar. And I mean, they will drill you, question, pose hypothetical things to you to see how you respond in an attempt to really get you to learn the rudiments of representation. And that now, Ian, would have spurred the interest to say to me, say, listen, you can do this thing. I sat back and I waited, supported other presidents because I believe I must wait my turn. And I remember one of our trustees, Dundee Hewitt, he wrote in a book, give me one time to say that my time, because Dundee was a wise man, you know, cunning little trustee and senior stalwart of the JTA, past president and regional officer. And it used to be said in the JTA in those days that if you don't get Dundee's endorsement, you will not be president. And I remember going to Dundee and asked Dundee, I was principal then, now Ian at Constitution Hill. I asked Dundee for his blessing. Dundee look at me and say, boy, go if I ain't going to learn. You just come. You're not even principal of a real school. I know a man we have more pitney than them other children in your school. I didn't take it as an insult, you know, Ian. I took it, I would just laugh and talk about it and say, all right, so Dundee said, we must go get big school. We said, listen, I am not going into any big school now, so I'm going to develop my school and make it into a big school. He wrote in a book that what I bought named The Teacher's Struggle, written by him. And he said to me that my time would be 2019. This was in 2013, you know. And I felt, oh God, 2019, I don't even know if I'm going to live to see 2019. Lo and behold, 2019 came, I ran, and I lost. But I never gave up. I told myself that I'll build on that experience and come back better in 2020. And pandemic, COVID that tried to cramp my style, but thanks be to God and to my campaign team, we overcome. And I'm here today speaking with you as the president of the Jamaica Teachers Association.
All right, Sir Smith. All right. Do you believe you are the right man for the job?
Ian, you have to first demonstrate faith and confidence in yourself and the Almighty God. And one thing I can tell you, everywhere I go, the teachers whom I am seeking, I will be representing, constantly tell me that I am indeed the man for the job at this time. And one of the things we know in the JTA, and always say in the JTA, the teachers of Jamaica have always chosen the right president for the right time. The role and the job that each president will have to do is as though the season in which you are elected to serve coincide with the ability and the skill sets that you have. And the thing is this, when you have gone to states where our motto is work and integrity, it is something that we have to hold true to, and we will continue to do our best, because hard work I'm not a stranger to it, and integrity is a hallmark which I seek to acquire and to maintain at all times. And don't get me wrong, Ian. Don't think that I'm perfect, and I don't want anybody hearing me think that, oh, I'm here presenting myself as if I'm this perfect person. God forbid, I have hope of flaws, plenty faults, plenty flaws. The truth is, I have learned to grow, acknowledging my weaknesses, and grow from strength to strength. I don't rely on my own intellect or my own knowledge to execute this office of the president of the JTA. I believe in my chairmen, all 20 of them. They have nurtured and buffered me. They have advised and counseled me, and I lean on them heavily. I believe in the work of the administrative staff of the JTA. I know that they'll give me full support. You understand? And only the best is good enough. That's a motto from Rosal days, Ian. And guess what? It's a motto of Golden Spring today.
Whoa.
You understand what I'm saying? So I have confidence in the teachers of Jamaica. And the truth is, Ian, I don't see myself as this high and mighty, lifted up individual. I'm just a humble little black youth from Rosal who believe in utmost respect for humanity and for the people with whom I interact. And I believe that every man can teach me something. So any teacher can call me, can text me, and say, listen, Prezi, I didn't like this. And this is something, and it dovetails into what I was saying to you earlier. While I was at conference, Ian, executing my first duties as president of the JTA, we were having a discussion. I can't tell you the discussion for obvious reason. But I was going down a wrong path because in my, I don't want to say exuberance, but you're in the position for the first time at conference as the president and chairman. I overlook a critical issue. And a gentleman from Westmoreland, a teacher, elderly fellow, I don't want to say elderly, but very experienced man. He rose and he said, on a point of information, Mr. President, you make a mistake. And when I listened to him and he told me, he pointed me back to where the point I'd overlooked. Ian, I felt pleased to know that my teacher, a teacher in the conference room, could point that out to me. And I simply told him thanks. And I said to him, sir, you saved my presidency. Mark, it may not have gone that bad, but that is how I liken his contribution. I told him thanks right then, dear, and said, listen, please forgive me for overlooking that step. And the minute I accepted it, he was the one who seconded the motion. It was a motion that was not seconded, so it wouldn't have been legal. And he would have come back in the future to haunt my presidency. You understand? And he pointed me, and I was very grateful to him. That is how I intend to lead the JTA, Ian. That's who I am and who I intend to operate. I take correction, and I'm never too big to say, I'm sorry. Thank you. Those are things my mother inculcated in me. And not only my mother, but the entire teachers at Rosal All-Age School in my early years would have grounded those things in who we are. Because it's not just me alone. You're like that too. Who we are as product of that little institution. So I know I can do it, not because of my own might, because of the strength of my team, and most importantly, because of the grace of God who would have caused me to be here at such a time as this.
Okay, Mr. President, I just want to say this, some tough question now, because you have come in at a tough time. Nickens. You have come in at a tough time in terms of the pandemic, and I know there's a lot of questions that gonna surround the pandemic, the whole education system, schooling, everything. So I want to give you to give me a
look at it this way, Ian. JB taught us how to play bouncer. While we're at States, Ian, JB, Junior Bennett, who was our coach, taught us how to hook, how to pull, how to leave alone. And when I went to Case and playing cricket at Case too, Mr. Brissett concretized those skill set, how to hook and pull and cut and leave alone. So let us see what you throw at me, because if I can't hook, I'll try and pull. If I can't pull, then I'll try and cut. If I can't cut, then I'll can leave alone.
Well, I think you're gonna do very well, because we had this similar coach who passed through states, who went to College of Agriculture. Mr. Brissett was also my coach there at Case. So more than likely you're gonna be able to come out of this bouncer. So really, I wanted you to just give us, an overview of, the pandemic and how it have really affected the whole schooling for especially this new school year with young kids going into school, and where these kids mentally and physically prepared, with all the online schooling and so forth. And then I want you touch a touchy topic, which is no vaccination and your teachers and all those stuff. So if you want to answer in one, because I have my little baby giving all this trouble back here, I'll mute and let you have the platform.
No, man. You what you do? Just hold her in your hand, man, and let her be a part of the thing. Because she wants her to be a part of it, and little girls love their daddies. When Renee was that age, I am sure if that was happening, she will be right in my lap right now. So just hold her, man, and let me say hi to her too. So put her aside. Let her be a part of it, man.
Come and say hi to the people. You give too much trouble.
Hi. All right, hear what you're going to do for me now, princess. Just lay down on daddy's chest and let us all reason together.
Listen.
All right? So just lay down, rest your head on daddy's chest, and we all do this together. All right? Now, Ian, as it relates to the pandemic is really a challenge globally. I don't want anybody to think that it is just Jamaica. It's a world that is being affected in a similar manner. We have to put things into context as it relates to how we treat with the pandemic. Jamaica is a small island. Our economy is not as robust as other first world countries. Secondly, our citizens are some of the most determined and strong-willed people you'll ever come across. Jamaicans are resilient. Jamaicans like to have things their way. Jamaicans don't like to be tied down. And as my son would say, the youths them have to strive. Many of our Jamaican brothers and sisters hustle each day for a living. Why am I saying all this? Because of how we operate in order to survive. It's going to be a little challenge to us to really keep under control the spreading of COVID-19. Because people have to go out to hustle. People have to do them little thing. You know what I'm saying, Ian? However, it is impacting the education system. Now, Online teaching, and I must commend the teachers of Jamaica, brother. Here we are operating in a space and on a trajectory that teachers were trained and qualified and certified from college days and university. We are on this path. And all of a sudden, here comes the pandemic, COVID-19, and it just chop us off like this, drop us to a different level. Now, having flown with my brother, and you know my brother, I have a brother who's a commercial pilot. And I mean, if you're in an aircraft and the plane drop altitude significantly, if you're not careful, you might find the thing them dropping, the air thing them dropping from the ceiling. People might be screaming and crying, thinking they're going to drop out of the sky. But that's what happened to the education system. We're on a trajectory, on a path, cruising at altitudes also. Pandemic drop us. A sudden, sharp drop. And guess what happened? The teachers, like experienced, qualified, certified pilots with years of service, the teachers took control and kept the education system in good stead. Was it perfectly done? No. Why wasn't it better? We face many challenges. Chief among them, digital challenges. There is a significant gulf between the haves and the have-nots. There are many schools or many communities where there's no internet connection. There are many families without any electronic device that could facilitate online learning. So many of our teachers had no experience in doing online teaching. But we managed to keep it together, Ian, to keep the education sector afloat. And I lift my hat to all teachers across Jamaica, whether you're members of the JTA or not. The education sector could have been destroyed had it not been for the resilience and the resourcefulness of our teachers. In terms of readiness for this academic year, we are not ready. The truth is, we are not ready if you count readiness to be in comparison to what it used to be. However, I am of the view that we are 50 to 100 to 80% better off in terms of experience now. The teachers now know the challenges that we will face come September in terms of devices and so forth. The teachers are aware. We know the challenges that will come. The Ministry of Education is more aware now of what the challenges that the teachers will face. And I'm happy to see the input of the minister and what is happening. Ian, the truth is, are we where we need to be? No, God forbid, we are not. Are we getting there with time? Yes. The JTA gave a $1 million to the education sector to buy devices for students. $1 million, you know. That is a contribution of the Jamaica Teachers Association outside of its members, giving their own personal resources to the students in our classes. I mean, I went out begging, I got some device, I got some old phones, smartphones that we get reconditioned, we give to students. So we are trying our best under the circumstance. Have we perfected it, Ian? No. And if persons from the private sector is hearing me now, we are calling on these people to come on board because education is too important for us not to get it right. What are some of the benefits now, Ian? You see, I said in my speech at conference that every dark cloud have a silver lining. The pandemic is a huge dark cloud with lightning and thunder and everything and breeze are blowing. You feel as if we will be inundated. But guess what? There is a thin line, silver lining around this dark cloud. Ian, our children, Pitney from Rosal, from Constitution Hill, from Timbuktu, from Halls Delight, from places that may have never ever gone anywhere, they are now able to perform online functions like children in first world country. Ian, our students in Jamaica are almost now on the same path, on par with the children in the United States, England, France, Italy, Russia, all over, simply because they are now learning to navigate the online space. There are many children who did not know anything about PDF, did not know anything about Microsoft Word, was not able to upload anything, don't have any email address. Now we are on that path for our children to be more functional in today's global economy and world. So there are benefits that derive from having experienced this. The question now is, how ready are we? Now, as if this wasn't bad enough, here comes the virus deciding to destroy our economy and our intellectual competence and skills. But the resilient teachers are always willing to go beyond the call of duty to ensure that the loss is not severe. Which brings me now, Ian, as you asked me to, the vaccine. Now, Ian, and those who are listening me, we have not all the answers concerning the effects of the vaccine. Scientists will tell you, yes, it will do this, it will do that. But the truth is, we may not know the fullness of it until years to come. However, what do we know? What is it that we know now? One, the report is from all the science journals that I've read, and believe me, Ian, when I tell you, I am a science teacher. I keep abreast of scientific discoveries and inventions and so forth. I read science journals, right? I go online and do research just for fun to keep myself knowledgeable about the things that are happening. So here are some of the things that we have discovered. The vaccine, it does not prevent you from catching COVID-19, but it minimizes or significantly reduce the impact of COVID-19 on the average man. And remember now, Ian, for our purpose of this conversation, we understand that everybody is different. You understand? And I may take it and it's okay, while you may take it and something happen. It may happen on other occasions, but the majority would be okay. So you take the vaccine. It reduces your chance the chance of you being hospitalized. So the vaccine don't stop you from catching the disease, the virus, What it does is prevent you from dying. It prevents you from being hospitalized. You can still transmit it, hence the need to continue to wear your mask. Now, colleagues, whether you're in Jamaica or anywhere in the world, ask yourself this question. If I don't take the vaccine, what are my alternatives? If I don't take the vaccine, I may catch a COVID and recover. If I don't take the vaccine, I might catch a COVID and is hospitalized. Go through severe bronchial problems. And your lungs may never be the same because of the damage to it. You may catch the vaccine and die. If you catch a COVID, and die, having not taken the vaccine. So the question is, if you're not going to take the vaccine, what are your alternatives? And it brings me back here, and me a man who go to church and a man of faith. In the book of Numbers, you see, when the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they were being bitten by serpents. Moses went to God and complained to God, saying, the people might die because of the serpents. God said to Moses, build a graven image like unto that of the serpent. Put it on the highest point in the land that everybody can see it. And tell the people, if you're bitten by the serpent, just look on that one and you shall live. Ian, enough people dead. They refuse to look. Just a look, would save them life. But they refuse to look and they die. But guess what? Many looked and live. The reality is, no matter what we say, many teachers, many citizens worldwide will not take the vaccine. But they will have to pay the penalty. I wish to God that they all recover. But if they don't recover, that burden is on them, not on us. So, colleagues, am I saying that you must take the vaccine? Yes. Am I saying that people should force you to take the vaccine? Hell no. You have a right as a citizen to determine what goes into your body. And as it is now, Ian, my reading, my understanding, the vaccine has only received emergency authorization use. In other words, enough. There's still more work to be done before it can be approved as a full-fledged form of treatment for the disease, for the virus. Am I encouraging teachers to take it? Yes, and I'm very proud of the teachers of Jamaica. At my last presentation at conference, I was informed, reliably informed, that over 68% of teachers in Jamaica have taken the vaccine. And I'm sure, Ian, by the time this weekend passes and this vaccine bliss finish, the percentage of teachers who would have been vaccinated should by now, I am expecting it to reach around 80% of the teaching population in Jamaica. And when I look at what is happening, my sister is a nurse in the school system, and she has advised me that the students at her school in Newcastle, people are coming from all over to take the vaccine. So it is good things are happening, and I'm anticipating, Ian, that school will reopen soon. Hopefully, you have to give the 2 week and the two week before you take the next one, and then 2 week after. So the minister is projecting the middle of October for high school with the children in the grades 10 to 13. We are anticipating that primary schools will reopen. There is a little challenge in that regard because, the vaccine is really for children over 12. But I'm of the view that if our teachers are vaccinated and we wear our masks, sanitize, social distance, and so forth, then we should be able to at least attempt to do it and observe and see what happens, and we take it step by step. As I would have said to a reporter, stop pretending as though we have a playbook. The people from the Spanish flu in 1800s, they didn't write a playbook and say, colleagues, citizens of the world in the future, should there be a vaccine, here is what you should do. Should there be a pandemic, here's what you should do. Nobody gave us a playbook. We are learning as we go along. The Pfizer vaccine is what is here for the children today because Pfizer and Moderna is the one authorized, given the authorization for children 12 upwards to use. And the government of Jamaica has gotten some. They're rolling it out with the children, and we are anticipating that more will come. All the players in the education sector, be it janitor, watchman, cook, etc., they are no priority. So they can turn up at any of the centers and present themselves evidence to show that they are indeed within that sector, and priority will be given to them as promised to me by the minister in our conversation. And I must say that the minister did promise, and I'm seeing that she's delivering, and I'm happy for that. You understand? So good things are happening in that regard, and I'm very optimistic. What I need is for the people now, the citizens of Jamaica, to be more responsible. I do understand the challenges, Ian. I know that there are some people, if they're not going to sell one little shirt on the street side of town, or sell a little this or sell a little that, there's no money to feed the children and to send them home, send them out to school. But the truth is, guys, we have to start making education a priority, or else we will all perish. Because man, if you live, Ian, and when you leave high school and reach 18, 19, and you want your little girlfriend or your boyfriend or your little this or your husband or your wife, and you don't have nothing, no way or no source of survival or putting food on the table, what do you think will happen, Ian? Crime will go increase. Because a man have to live. A brother sing a song and say, yo, my dog, them have to live. You see what I say? So a man have to live, Ian. And I'm saying the best way to make our citizens live is to give them a good education, brother. And I want to say, use now the digital thing. In my headspace now, Ian, I'm looking at say, all right, look at when we were at Rosal now. If I was to do some farming, because I used to do like a farming to survive, With this technology thing now, Ian, I can now go school 3 days a week, and stay home for the other 2 days online learning. So I could be in my farm planting my tomato and melon and callaloo and pak chai and thing, while online learning and at the same time attend to my crops. At the same time, using the online thing to showcase my products and my things in my garden, so that I could now say to people worldwide, here are some good crops, sweet pepper, tomato, and that will now open markets so that I can now sell the things and rather than just the people at Higler go around. In my speech here at conference, I said that it is time for us to advance the cottage industry into good, big multinational companies and the organizations, starting from the same Southeast Central, the bread basket, because everyone have to eat, We all have to eat. So let us now use this knowledge and the technology to propel ourselves forward and develop Jamaica Stop import these type of things where they're fucking we up. And at the same time, we say obesity and these lifestyle diseases are kill out the people in Jamaica. Let us now feed ourselves, brother. Get things, utilize what is there, showcase the things so that we can all know. Don't let the pandemic be a deterrent to our growth and development. We can navigate the space. We can cooperate. We can use the online learning. Ian, my theme for conference here, is bridging the digital divide. Transforming education for economic growth and sustainable development. And I believe that COVID-19 we should see the blessing that is within it and the way it can propel us as a nation to utilize our God-given skills and ability to make ourselves and our family and the country better off. So I don't know if I handled that first delivery well, but the last time I checked, I see somebody from the stand picking up the ball.
Well, definitely I can say that you had put across some strong points, and I think they're well taken. And with you being the president of the JTA, I expect a lot of people to confirm. Nicky, relax. And in the meantime, I just want to give a big hail up to my auntie. Here's the witter. She's shouting out that she's very proud of you. And
I miss you, how you know.
Yeah, I have a state past student, Ilian Campbell Murray RN, with know too much about these vaccine and the benefits and so forth. We probably gonna have to bring on Ilian one of these days on. But I'm gonna give a shout out for
Ian, there are many things in life we don't know plenty about. Look at it this way, Ian.
It's paid.
When you go to Norman Manley Airport and go into JetBlue, you on your ticket you only see E190. You don't even know what the E stand for. But you go in there, you sit down and you take a seatbelt and wrap it around your lap and you relax. You don't even know who is in the cockpit. You don't even see the pilot. But you go into that aircraft, you sit down, having paid your money, and you trust that the pilot in that aircraft will take you down the runway, lift the plane off the ground, and carry you through space, through the air, and take you safely to your destination. Have you ever seen inside the cockpit of that aircraft? Do you know how the aircraft works? But you trust it. You jump in, you pay your money, and the airfare is cheap. There are many things in life, Ian, we will never know, because we can't know everything. But we have to trust something. If we live our life in doubt, we'll never move from where we are. So we have to trust something. And if we want to have school open back to give our children a good opportunity, we have to trust the system. Because if we don't trust it, people will die. You understand what I'm saying? And not only those who will die by the infection, Ian, but people are going to be suffering intellectually. You see, the impact of this, Ian, if we don't open school, will not be immediate, 10 years' time is when you're going to see it. In 10 years' time, Ian, I'm almost retired. But in 10 years' time, my son will be 33. My daughter will be 28. What kind of world will they be living in? So we have to trust something, and we can't remain skeptical about everything. When we were young, Ian, we were injected for measles, mumps, and rubella. We never have the understanding then. We didn't have social media to come and tell us that don't take this. If it was then, Ian, if measles, mumps, and rubella vaccination was being done today, and many people would have mumps and rubella today in Jamaica because we wouldn't take it. We would have all sorts of doubts and fear. But because of social media, everything now becomes available to us at the click of a button. And our fear heightened astronomically, which is now giving rise to the perpetuation of the problem that we have. The truth is, Ian, I am not here to promote the vaccine as a person gaining directly from the sale of vaccine or its use. What I'm looking at, brother, is the fact of the matter is I don't have a better alternative. This vaccine at least gives us hope. I have been vaccinated fully I took my first shot in April. I took the second shot in May. And believe me, I have not seen any side effect. And my entire family, my mother, 78-year-old, vaccinated fully. Every single one of my brothers and sisters, niece and nephew. As a matter of fact, today the last set of those who were under 18, but over 12, every single one of them went to their various schools today and get vaccinated. At least get the first round. So I can tell you, all of my siblings and their children and their partners are fully vaccinated, including my 78-year-old mother. And none of us are suffering any side effect. So the point is, Ian, let us now look at the greater good. The good of the nation. Because we need to survive. Or else God help us. You understand? So let us now take the thing to a different level. And as I said before, I'm proud of the teachers who are going out to be vaccinated and the students. Because at least they understand that, look, if we don't do this thing, as we say a country, dog name your supper. And me love my supper, you know, so if you notice me, I get fat. Me don't ramp with my food. So, yeah, Ian, your mic is muted it seems like.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so with that said, I just want to join in with Ilian and say, good going, sir. Love your reasoning, your level of reasoning. So that simply means, you have done your research and you know what you're talking about. So what I'm going to do is going to move over to another ticklish issue in the school. And I just want to find out where you stand, your position on fees in primary school and secondary school. You know, when it comes to money, we have
problems. Ian, you look like you are listening. Yeah, you must pay attention to social media. And I don't know where you come with them questions and find it. Look like you read some things that people write and things. Well, let me make it abundantly clear. All right. Be glad you asked the question then. Let me make it abundantly clear, Ian. Right? Winston Roy Smith, the 9th child of Pernell and Blossom Smith, is fully 100% behind and fully endorse free education at all levels. Ian, remember earlier on I tell you, when I went to high school, I had to go to Shaka to beg a blight to get by. When I went to college, a student loan I had to borrow because no money in there. So I fully support free education, Ian. I applaud the government of Jamaica for what they are doing. I wish to God they had done it when I was in high school, because at least it would ease off some of the pressure. You understand what I'm saying? But here is the thing now, Ian. The cost of quality education requires more than what the government is able to spend on education. The government is doing as best as they can. But for us to get the quality education we need, it requires more than what government can spend. Now, I understand the government, because when I make a promise, I try to fulfill it. The government, under this Jamaica Labour Party government, they made a promise to abolish school fees. And I respect them for trying to fulfilling that promise. I applaud them. I lift my hat to them for it. But here what I'm saying now, I'm appealing to the parents, the citizenry of Jamaica. Even if you don't have any children in a particular school, you find yourself with some money, give to the school some money, man. Help donate towards the cause of education. There are many parents, Ian, that used to spend $100,000 to their children to go to certain prep school. Now the child matriculated to high school. You don't have that $100,000 bill to pay no more. So what I'm saying, just give to the school, no man, a little donation from that $100,000 you used to pay to X and Y prep school. Government is saying you're not paying any fees to come to school now. So you're saving back roughly $100,000. What is so hard in you now? Coming up front and say, all right, Mr. Principal, here is a 30,000, here's a 50,000 for the year to help with the educational the provision of quality education at the school. That is what I'm talking about. That we need to know as a country, recognize that the government alone can't do it. And the people of Jamaica, the citizens of Jamaica, you can give contribution to the school, whether it is in cash or in kind in terms of service, you know. So when the school need to have a building erected, you're a tradesman, come in and give a day's work, you know, without a charge, as part of your contribution. So that together, because hear me out, brethren, if we don't collectively push towards a thrust of advancing education in Jamaica, we're going to pay dearly for it. Because guess what? When we fail to give our children, especially young men, them quality education, they're going to become quality criminals, you know, Ian. And remember me tell you, Jamaica not make gun, but this country is full of them. And when them gonna start back, people going to die. And the same man who never have the money to help out a school to provide education, have to go find hundreds of thousands of dollars to bury a loved one. You're going to miss them too. I am saying, Ian, let us be proactive rather than be prescriptive. Let us try to prevent the thing than try to cure it. So I'm calling on every Jamaican, whether at home or abroad, send a money, come help out your alma mater, man. We as a family, you know, Ian, we are doing that in Rosal, you know. My brothers and sisters, we have come together and start the Pernell and Evelyn Smith Foundation. And every year we try finance, we help youngsters to go to school. We pay the school fee for children going to Monroe College. We pay the school fee for children going to Bishop Gibson High School, to Hampton High School. And we have one, I think she's in final year now at Caribbean Maritime Institute, who we are financing their way through high school. You understand what I'm saying, Ian? We are helping our Rosal school and the citizens on Rosal who are having difficulty in going to high school. You understand? And we have past student, Jevin Bent, former deputy commissioner, she's one of my cousins. She chairs the foundation. I'm the vice chairman for it. And we are financing, we are helping. I'm not saying that we're paying the entire school fee or everything that the child needs, but these children get a cash grant from the Smith Family Foundation every year. And I'm proud to say to you that those students who we are sponsoring, they're doing very well. Because part of the requirement is that they should send a copy of their report to us. And I'm proud to say that the reports that I've been getting as a vice chairman is very, very good. The students are maintaining, we ask them to maintain a 75% average. And none of the students that we sponsor have a 75% average. Everybody exceed that, 85 up. There's one boy at Monroe whose average is 94. I don't know if I don't want to call his name on the program, but he knows who I'm talking about. He has a twin brother, right? And we are helping them out as part of our social responsibility and giving back to our community. So I'm not just talking the talk, you know, Ian. I'm living it and I'm preaching it. So I can testify that I am asking people to contribute because I am contributing. My siblings are contributing. And these are funds that come from our pocket. Because we believe in education, brother. And I am calling on citizens of Jamaica to go to schools and donate to schools so that we can join with the efforts of the government of Jamaica and produce quality children so we can realize Vision 2030 and don't have to put it off again because we have put it off 2 times already. And we need to make Jamaica a place to live, to do business, to raise our family, and to do it in peace and love and harmony. One love. That's how we say in Jamaica. You understand? So don't get it. I mean, that is my stance on the whole thing. And I will forever carry that message across. That it's a message of collaboration. and cooperation for the greater good. Nation building, we say, Ian.
All right, see there, another work on integrity. Ilian, I could vote for her in terms of giving back to her school too. So we know what you're talking about, and we love that you and your family have taken up that on you, to do such good work, especially for the community. We know, the community we're from, it's not the richest of community, it's a farming community, but everybody is willing to try, and it's good. Somebody who can give a lending hand and also, positive influence. As you said, the average are way above the 75, So once you're up in the 80s, that show that, excellent performance. They really appreciate what you guys have done.
We're happy to see that we are able to help. Apart from the fact that myself and Clayton and Bev, my brother and sister, we are all teachers. We're teaching, yes, but we're adding some more to it because there are children who our teaching skills may not be able to reach, and they have need. So we are helping in that regard, and we are calling on people to do likewise.
Okay. President, I'm just gonna take a question from the back end. What they said, been asked here, and I just hear you say basically from a family line of teachers. But this question is, what do you mean when you say that there will be an exodus of teachers? So it's a question coming from.
Oh boy, Ian, you must stop watching Bite of the Week, because the Bite of the Week never show the whole thing. The Bite of the Week just capture that little piece and put it on. What I actually said, Ian, you see?
I just a push question that they put in us. So
all right. Will somebody watch the Bite of the Week on TVJ? And all right, here's the thing, Ian. What was shown on TVJ was a little snippet of the entire it's like you cut the sentence and take out a piece. What I said was that we are going to embark on a negotiation. And I turn and I say, and I appeal to you, Madam Minister, Honorable Minister, for you to exert your influence on the Minister of Finance so that we can have a meeting to treat with the salary negotiation for the island teachers. And I'm hopeful that when we go to negotiate, the teachers of Jamaica will get a satisfactory compensation package. Because, Minister, if we don't get a satisfactory compensation package, we may have an exodus of teachers from Jamaica. No, I say we will have an exodus of teachers from Jamaica that will make the exodus in Moses' day look like child's play. Now, Ian, I know for a fact that there are many teachers who have left Jamaica and have gone to North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, China, Japan, and as far as Saudi Arabia and down in Dubai. I have contacts with teachers down there. As a matter of fact, I have a teacher from Japan who has reached out to me when she heard that I was installed as president to partner with me, and I'm going to be investigating that prospect. So I know that my colleagues are all over. Okay? Earlier on this year, I went to North Carolina to meet up with teachers from Jamaica. And I spoke with them, Ian. And I also spoke with several principals who are employers of Jamaican teachers. And you know what the principal them tell me, Ian? They can't wait to come back to Jamaica for more. Because the Jamaican teachers that they have are the most knowledgeable set of teachers on their staff. One of the principals said to me, Mr. Smith, we were having a staff development function, seminar. And when I went in thinking I was bringing new and creative ideas, the Jamaican teachers were bored to death. And one of them said to me, sorry, Betty, you did tell me this is what you were going to do because I could have done the professional development for you because we'd passed that long time in Jamaica. In other words, Ian, our Jamaican teachers, the best of the best, are the ones who are leaving. The reality is, Ian, the compensation package is too small. A teacher looked at me one day and said, I am going to vote for you, and this is the last time I'm voting for a JTA president unless you can deliver. Mr. Waham, she said, listen, I cannot buy a house. I'm 35 years old and still paying rent. And every time I get a house opportunity, go to NHT because of the mortgage. I'm only given $6.5 million. No house, no decent house. Or not even a semi-decent house is being sold for $6.5 million, Ian. Now, even at $6.5 million from the NHT, the monthly mortgage is roughly $35,000. A trained graduate is taking home little over $100,000 a month, you know. So when you take out $35,000 for a mortgage to NHT, but that $6.5 million from NHT can't even buy a hut. So you have to seek additional funding from some other lending agency. When you add all things together, the mortgage around you $50,000, $60,000 a month per month. And if you're paying $60,000 a mortgage, Ian, how are you going to survive with light and water and transportation and food and clothes and the high cost of everything? And as a result, these teachers are leaving Jamaica to go abroad to ply their trade. When I went there on a tour, Ian, and I tell you, and this was me funding my own way to go. I was installed as president-elect, and I thought to myself, if I'm going to go on to face the negotiation, I need to see what exists elsewhere. So I paid my own way up to North Carolina, went into South Carolina and Georgia, driving because you know North Carolina is close to them. So I drive to them. Look at what is there. The facility, Ian, makes our classroom look like we're not even try. I understand, you know, that we are talking about first world country, third world country. But good God, it can be better. So the teachers will leave, Ian. And there are many who have said to me publicly that, Mr. President, because they have been calling me Mr. President from before I even become president. They said that if this negotiation not come through good, I am looking to go away. Not to mention those who gone to England where the dollar, where the pound is carry some weight. This is the reality, Ian, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's a fact. And I tell you, I am going to have my educational research committee commission a proper survey into how many teachers have left Jamaica. There are teachers in Jamaica now who are telling me that, see my sinus bothering me, sorry about that. Many teachers, there are teachers in Jamaica who have told me that the only reason why they are still here is because embassy is overcrowded and there's no date for the visa application. So it's not a myth, it's not a hypothetics, it's real. Right? If the teachers of Jamaica does not get a satisfactory compensation from this negotiation, there will be an exodus of teachers. I kid you not, Ian, and I tell you this even in my own household, because my son is going into fourth year. I don't want to call the name of the college because I don't want anybody to tease him, but it is really something with the short. So the people out here who know that there's a college up somewhere in Kingston 8, right? He's a double mathematics major and he's doing very well. Boy, bright like his mother and get the mathematics skills from his mother. And he's saying to me, Daddy, I rather suffer and go to school, you know, but me not want you borrow no money from student loan. I will scratch and go through. I don't want you borrow no money from student loan. Make me scrape and go through, and I don't want no scholarship from nobody who go ban me because I want my options to be open to me. That if things not go right with you and this negotiation, when I finish, I gone. This is my own son in my own house, looking at my face. Me, I'm sitting one evening, have a reason, you know. And this is what my son tell me. This is a mathematics, a double major in mathematics, Ian. And he's doing well academically. His GPA is 3.7. The youth is the student council president at Crawford, at that school. And yet he's saying to me, if this negotiation that you, my daddy, is the president of the JTA and will embark on, if it doesn't come through good, I am leaving. So when I tell you that there'll be an exodus, it's not me trying to badmouth anybody. I'm just putting to Jamaica the reality. There are many teachers who left after 2017, you know. Many teachers left after the 2017 negotiation because they were dissatisfied. And many are just sitting right now, waiting. It's almost like you're there at the bus stop or at the airport. Just are ready for board, for check in. You just hold on to see. If nothing no come, you check in. If things come, you don't bother check in. Right? So when I said it at conference and TVJ cut a little piece and put it, I wish to God they had sent the entire thing so you could understand the context in which I said it. But we know how things stay in the media. I mean, now go hold them up for it, and you know, I do understand the thing.
Well, I'm happy that that question came across, that you're able to at least break it down for us, to see they just take a little snap out of the whole package.
Yeah.
And throw it out there. So, thanks to the person who I put across that question, And I've got to basically learn something new, President. I basically heard that you have dedicated this presidency to your brother. So I want to know how that goes.
Oh, Lord. All right, Ian. You know all of my siblings. Well, you know most of them. As I would have said earlier, Lloyd was the epitome of excellence and the hallmark of the existence of the family. Lloyd, for those people who joined late, is my oldest brother. He was just a teenager when our father died, and Lloyd took the family on his shoulder, similar to how George Headley would carry the West Indies team. So much so that they would call him Atlas. Well, Lloyd is our Atlas. Lloyd is a man that even now at age 47 and as president of the JTA, I still call when I need to have a rational conversation to look leadership and guidance. He's there. The man took on the role of father at 16 years and 5 months and made sure that the family remains alive and functional, Ian. All 11 of us, Ian, has a first degree. And of the 11, 7 has a master's degree. Because Lloyd no settle with no little pian achievement. Lloyd believed that his siblings must be the best. And whatever he can do to make that happen. Of course, he had support from Philip and Mavis and Philip, who are the older ones. But you can appreciate that when Lloyd was in 5th form, Mavis and Philip, they were in 4th form. When Lloyd was out of school, they were still in high school. So he carried the burden. He carried this family. And this is my way of saying to my family, my siblings, having recognized the work and worth of Lloyd, I want to dedicate this to him. So he can know in his lifetime how valuable he is, not just to me, but to his 10 siblings who are below him. And I'm proud to know that he's my brother. And wherever I go, his name will always, especially like how me look like him so much, it's just that he's vertically challenged while I'm vertically blessed. But apart from the little joke I run with him more time, you're still muted here. That, you know?
Oh, yes, I said, mind yourself, mind like that listening, remember listening, so.
Well. I don't think he's at the days of getting beaten from him over a long time, Ian.
Milk. I can't.
All right, sir.
Yeah, so that is why I did it. That is why I dedicated to him, Ian, because I think it's that is the least I can do to show my appreciation and respect to him.
All right. So we're closing in on the 2-hour mark, and didn't even think that we'd get this close. So my quick question to you is, what your hope for Jamaica and the educational system?
Ian, I have short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals. The first thing in the short term, Ian, I'd love to see us getting control of the pandemic as best as we can, that we can have face-to-face school. I don't want us to appreciate the importance of digital space, and through governmental intervention, our 2 major telecommunication providers come on board in a fulsome way and do an extensive investment in the country to make sure that we have coverage. You understand? And not just any old coverage, but fiber optics, fast broadband service, so that we can bridge the digital divide. In the medium term, we want to look at, okay, as a country, enhance the literacy and numeracy rate, but not just numeracy and literacy. I want to see us as a country embrace the skills area. You know how difficult it is to find a tailor today, Ian?
I know that.
It's very difficult to find a tailor, to find a dressmaker. You know, those areas, those skill areas, I want to see a Jamaica come back to the point that people can take on these so that we can reduce the amount of money we spend on import, buying pants and clothes from abroad, when we can have them made right here in Jamaica and because the industry is viable. In the long term, Ian, I'd love to see our children become so educated that they push for political reform. Right? That we look for major changes in even our constitution. And these people would be so educated and so driven that they push for these things. Right? Recognize the importance of, rather than having rural to urban migration, we now go back into our communities, develop the communities so the entire Jamaica develop, rather than just Kingston, St. Andrew, Montego Bay, Manchester, those few parishes. Take, for example, we all grew up in Rosal. The last time I got down there, the house almost covered in a bush. Because everybody keep moving out. Why are they moving out? To eke out a living in the urban centers. Develop Jamaica in such a way that people can go back to their communities. Develop, build houses, because employment and earning opportunity exists in these areas, so that Jamaica, under God, will become really truly a country that achieve its full potential and increase in beauty, and let us know live as a country with in peace and harmony. Because guess what, my friend? Jamaica is a blessed place, you know. So we just done the people the other day, 1, 2, 3 at Olympics, 1, 2, 3 at the Diamond League. We are excelling as a country, but we're doing it in our own individual way. And we want to now look at it as a collective improvement nationally. And I believe, Ian, I genuinely believe with all my heart, the best way out of this position that we are in is through education. And that is what I'm committed to do, my brother.
All right, President, I know you're going to have a lot on your plate, you know, because you have made a lot of promises, you know. Remember the interview 8 months back, you know, you have promised the people and you say you would deliver. Now you're in the seat, which is I believe it's a heated seat right now. So, so personally, you know, what can we expect from you on those promises that you have made?
Well, Ian, when I make promises, I try to fulfill them. And if I find that I can't fulfill them, I'm going to come right back to you and to say to you what I have done in an attempt to fulfill it, and to say to you, I can't fulfill it because of X, Y, Z. And to share with you what a kind of roadmap, so that if somebody else come along and can help that to move the progress a little further. Remember, you know, prosperity, productivity is what we seek after. When I campaign, Ian, I never tell any teacher that I'm going to give him a big pie in the sky, no hotel pan, no North Coast, or no car, or no concession. Because those things are not, to me, they are not within my control. What I campaigned on was a vote for Winston is a vote for a positive change in the Jamaica Teachers Association. To that end, Ian, I believe in empowering the teachers so that they can be quality representative of the various institutions where they serve. So in my program as president, Ian, I am looking to now train and certify the contact teachers at the school level so that they can now treat with any little grievance that arise at the school. You know, sometimes principal and teacher have different issues and conflict arise. I want the contact teacher, who is the first line of defense for the teacher, to be able to now act as a mediator at the domestic level, reducing the amount of time we spend haggling over disciplinary issues and grievance procedure with Ministry of, with the Appeals Tribunal and all sort of thing, and board spending time, wasting time, if you ask me, dealing with disciplinary issue, which could have been settled at the domestic level if our contact teachers were more educated and informed how to treat with those things. Remember, you know, the board of all government institutions, the board members are not paid. They are working people in other spheres of life. I don't want them to be taking time off from their job to come and treat with issues at school, which could have been prevented had the contact teacher be properly trained and can help the principal to mitigate those problems. So we want to empower those contact teachers here. I want to bring back a training program, an industrial relations system or institute in the JTA, where you train young leaders, train young people to become leaders. Leaders at the JTA, leaders at their various institutions. So many of them can become vice principal, principals, lecturers. Who knows? Maybe even education officer, maybe even a prime minister. Through the leadership skills that they would have gained emanating from the JTA and the program offerings that we have. Some of our teachers, Ian, they suffer from renal failure. So I want to partner with the diaspora. And I've already have dialogue with them. As a matter of fact, they have invited me to their program on Wednesday to have conversation with me concerning plans for the diaspora. So I've spoken to Leo Gillins and Dr. Dice already. We have had that communication channel open already, and I should be talking with them Wednesday evening. I hope I can get the link. If I get it, I'll send it to you, so that you can hear the conversation and participate, because we need to bring the diaspora on. I want to be able to buy at least one dialysis machine so that teachers, and not just teachers, want to open it up to other trade union, other civil servants. So the nurses, the policeman, the ministry and its various agencies, civil servants in general, should be able now to have access to this dialysis machine. And of course, it can't be free, so it be at a smaller cost than if you were to go to private institutions. So these are my things I want to do. Right? There's one other major thing I'm looking to do, Ian, and that is to partner now with the Teachers Colleges of Jamaica, as well as the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, and the Ministry of Finance, to explore the possibility of the Ministry of Education paying teachers on the strength of their transcript, rather than to wait until months down the road when graduation. So if we pay the teachers from the transcript, then the transcript could come in earlier, give the teachers their money as quick as possible. That will ease the burden on the government coffers, because to be waiting 5-6 months down the road and paying retroactive money, the government will have to fork out lump sum to teachers, which may put a burden on the budget. But if you pay us from day one, smaller amount, because you're paying monthly rather than have it to pay retroactively, it will be a less of a burden. It will be more economic. It will be better for the country too, because the teachers will have money to spend. And the more this money they have to spend is the more taxes come to the government, so the government benefit. They could start pay back student loan earlier and finish paying off, because you're getting your degree pay in September rather than next year, the following February, when most persons would have gotten the graduate degree from the university or college and then submit it, and it take a while. So we want to partner with those stakeholders with the view to have that done. That will be done to the immediate benefit of teachers once they have gone to upgrade or coming fresh out of college. Those are my stuff I want to do, Ian. And my president's program has a 28-point thing where we're looking at stuff to do. And I believe that they are realistic and they are achievable. can be done because those things are within, so most of them are within the ambit of our control. And it's just our willingness to get it done. And I believe I have 20 chairmen who are 150% behind me. And they are committed to me and the teachers of Jamaica to make it happen. I have a very good administrative staff at the JTA, willing and ready to work to ensure that the teachers of Jamaica benefit from these ideas that we have crafted. And the conference have approved my program, so it is now all speed, full speed ahead.
All right, President. Quick question here, and again, from our social network. Say, they just wanted to explain clearly what you mean by rethinking the funding of higher education.
I know, man. Yeah, and somebody I really listen to my conference speech and I carry news to you know.
Yeah, so
all right. Rethinking the funding for tertiary education or higher education, Ian. It comes from the backdrop of who I am and where I'm from. I remember having a conversation with Lloyd. And Lloyd said to me that being the first in the family, he had nobody really to stand as guarantor for him to get a student loan. Then my own experience as a teacher, where I have my students who would have passed through Papine, gone on to sixth form at that time in other institutions, matriculated to and qualified to get into UWI and UTech, but just could not go, Ian. Because they were the first in the family, the parents were not working, and they could not afford to finance themselves into college. They couldn't get student loan because they had no one to sign as guarantor. So many of them fell by the wayside, Ian. And I'm saying it's time for us to now rethink how we go about making provision for higher education. I applaud the government again because in the last presentation in Parliament, the government of Jamaica said that they would reduce the requirement from 2 guarantors to 1. But I believe, Ian, we need to rethink that and to remove the whole guarantee thing and come up with more innovative ways to hold the students accountable and ensure that they pay. I have some ideas, Ian, but I'm afraid I can't share them with you because the minister in her speech at conference has invited me to sit on the committee to revisit the funding of higher education in Jamaica. And those ideas, Ian, it would not be right for me to share them here before having the conversation with the minister. I must accord her that respect and the privilege to hear the ideas. But that is what I'm talking about, Ian, to revisit the whole student loan thing, to make it easier for students to access funding to go to tertiary, to seek tertiary education. But at the same time, holding those students accountable so that they pay back the student loan. Not only pay back the student loan, Ian, but there are many tertiary students, who get student loan to go to college, and they go to UWI and other institutions and they skylark and idle, fail out of college. And those things we have to take into consideration because we can't be lending or providing source of income funding for students to go to college and to just simply waste time and drop out of school. That don't make no sense, Ian. That is setting us back. So we have to come up with ways now to ensure that these things are not done. That the benefit and they really follow through, and at the same time provide an avenue for more poor people, children, to get the opportunity to benefit from higher education. And the greatest barrier for poor people is money. So we need to remove that blockage and let the thing flow so that a youth from Rosal, from Carline, from Brinkley, from Monimus can know that you can go to college even if you are the first in the family, and student loan will not be a barrier because access to funding will be available. That is what I'm talking about when I say rethink the funding of higher education. I don't know why people think that rethink means that you're going to move to something negative. Rethink means that you're going to just think about the thing and look at positive ways to make it better. At least I am an eternally optimistic person. So I am looking at when I say rethink it to make it better, not to make it worse. Because remember, no, Ian,
Yes,
my genesis is from object poverty. Ian, me couldn't afford long pants.
Bag. The socks.
Me couldn't afford shoes and socks. A barefoot. We go to school. So I know what poverty is, brother. And when God give you a brain, a good brain, that will take you and your family out of that poverty and place you at a position that you can be president of the JTA. We have to nurture that pathway so others can come through. We can't be selfish and lock it off, brother. We have to open it up so other poor people, children can come through. And no mind the rich one I go through too. It's just part of life. The God of our salvation, so me fall rain upon the just and upon the unjust. Enough time me unjust, you know. But me get the benefit. Because God is just. So we have to know, understand, say, we have to know. Stop look at how rich people are going to benefit and exploit the thing. But make the opportunity available for poor people to benefit. Because poor people need to bring up from their level of deprivation to a level of growth and development. And that is what we are seeking. That is what I'm talking about when we say rethink it, Ian. Not to remove it or to make it more difficult, but to make it more accessible and easier for people to get. I wonder what is them have in line for me, Ian.
Well, Mr. President, I don't think we're going to take much more questions. As a matter of fact, I would think we're going to close it right here. But really and truly, you know, I could have spent the entire night just reasoning with you. As Elaine would have said, you know, you're reasoning at a high level. You know, and when you look at your views and the ideas, you know, I know that we can look for great things with you, you know, sitting in that chair as the president of the Jamaica Teachers Association, you know, and we look forward to help you in whatever way we can, you know, both overseas and local, you know, and we just say congratulations again, you know. We know that, as Alvin Ben said, you have a big task ahead, you know. We wish you all the best. You know, we know that, you know, the season that you come in is a difficult season, but we never want to have anybody else than you to come in at this particular time. You know, your confidence, you know, that you bring, and, you know, it's like you keep a cool head. And that is pretty good, you know. I think your decision making is awesome. And, you know, your leadership, you know, is another great attribute. You know, we have seen, you know, you taking it through the education system from the different school that you have gone to. You have actually left there a positive mark. You know, you have leave this institution better than you found them. So, you know, good work, and we expect greater things. So I'm gonna give you the last minute or two, you know, for you to talk to the audience. But we just wanna thank them also for joining on with us and just sharing some of their Sunday evening with us. We know down in Jamaica, you guys are on a lockdown, so nothing else to do down there.
I mean, it's a good thing, Ian. So we are here this afternoon, so we can keep if they're online, then they can learn a little bit more about who I am. And I'm indeed grateful, Ian, and I'm thankful to you for coming, you and Ian Weekly. At that time, I was going through the campaign, and any publicity I could get, I would have been very appreciative of it. And I'm very thankful to you and Ian. Both of you are persons who, though both of you individually are from different areas in St. Elizabeth, I would have met both of you. Both of you would have been part of who I am. Ian was my batchmate in high school. We used to walk together from school because we live pretty much in close proximity, traverse the same pathway to get home. He would reach home before me. And so, you know, I'm very grateful to you guys for that opportunity. And as I said then, I made you a promise that should I win, I will grant you the first online interview. And I've kept that promise. So far, I can put a tick. Promise made, promise kept. And the teachers of Jamaica who are listening to me, they know when I make promises, I keep them. Especially those who would have worked with me at Papine, those at Constitution Hill, those at Golden Spring. They know when I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to try, and I'm going to do my utmost best. I'm going to do it, or I'm going to die trying. One thing I can say to you, teachers of Jamaica who are hearing me, I am not anything more special than anybody else. All I have is a heart of gratitude, a desire for a successful educational system, a commitment to you, the teachers of Jamaica, who would have voted for me and would have entrusted me with the responsibility of being your president. I know the road that lies ahead of us is very rough, like any typical Jamaican road. Has many potholes. Some of them are like craters. But just as how we navigate through these difficult times and we are still alive, we have not yet succumbed to the many challenges we face. Let us collectively go in a positive direction. I promise my teachers of Jamaica that I am nothing but your servant. I am here to serve you and to stand up for what is right and what is fair to all teachers of Jamaica. But at the same time, I am ever mindful of the realities and the space within which we operate. Colleagues, thank you again for the support, the encouragement, and the vote of confidence. By the grace of God assisting me, I will do my best to make sure that when I finish the presidency, you would be able to say, thank you for a job well done. And remember, the hallmark of success is not what others determine it to be, but the accomplishment or achievement of the tasks and objectives that you have set. My mandate was presented to the delegates at conference, which they have resoundingly approved. I will seek to accomplish those mandates. And at the same time, other peripheral things that were not contained therein, I will seek to do to make sure that you are well pleased with the president you have for the year 2021-2022. God bless you all as we continue to unite and serve. Long live the JTA. Have a restful night and remain safe in your lockdown. But of course, couldn't close without saying, take the vaccine so we can return to face-to-face. Thank you very much. Ian, thank you very much, brother.
Yeah, man, thank you. Peace out. And,
Yeah, man. All right, Cole.
Appreciate it here. And together we rise, building our nation.
And one of these days when we're going back to Rosal, I want to invite you. If you're in Jamaica, we can make that trek. And if not, when I'm passing through your neck of the woods, I look you up and we have a face-to-face sit-down talk and we look at how you can help us to develop some of the small schools in Jamaica. And there are many such schools that need help. All right?
I'm on board and I'll bring my team with you, putting this challenge over to Ilian too, because we know she have some brilliant ideas. So
I should probably have money to,
Ilian, cool, man.
Is it the same Ilian from up in South?
No. We'll connect you after the show, man.
All right, no problem.
All right.
All right, Ian, take care.
Come on, blessings.
Daddy is pretty. Daddy is